Will Levis. There he goes. All right. I
You want
get
me
it.
to? Okay, go ahead.
You got it.
Okay, I was gonna say Levis is a quarterback that in past years I would never want to touch. Um, but the more and more I watch him, I vaguely understand why everybody looks at him and goes, "Oh, it's Josh Allen. He's tall, he's big, he can run, he's aggressive, and he's got a cannon for an arm." Sure. The problem is he has an incredible arsenal of abilities married to some of the biggest red flags I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me so much of Carson Wentz coming out of North Dakota State. But the thing with Carson Wentz was, oh well, he played in a conference we didn't know yet. Oh well, it's he hasn't played as much as we'd like. It's a little different. Trey Lance had some of the similar conversations and narratives about him and stuff. Watching Will Levis play in a perfect world, he's a very good quarterback. In reality, he's a headache and a project. Now, headaches and projects work out. Josh Allen took 3 years before he was good.
Sure.
But I don't see it. I'd honestly rather miss and be wrong on this guy, which I don't normally say. But I mean, he's got he's dropping back, holding onto the ball way too long, trying to make a play, last longer than it should, not trusting his receivers. Granted, he had offensive line issues in 2022, so that I give him slack there. But if you go back and look at 2021, even as much highlight throws as he had some of the biggest issues I'd seen of any quarterback in this draft. He's the ultimate boomer bust, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you so much. For me, 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a big drop off here for me. And I totally get it. Really good athlete, super strong arm, big, strong body. He's built for it. He's built for it. He's Ryan Leaf. But
yeah.
Like you said, the red flags. And yes, a lot of issues this year, offensive line, receivers, for sure, without a doubt. But with that being said, there's some serious questions about his decision-making and his ability to read the defense. And it just feels like sometimes, man, he's just too risky for me. And I agree with you. I personally, if he's the last guy and the Panthers are sitting there at number 9, I won't be mad if they take Will Levis. But I don't really want my team to draft him because I just feel like the red flags are just too much. And I feel like Josh Allen really broke grading quarterbacks because Josh Allen,
he's the anomaly, not the new.
Right. And that's the problem. Whenever he was coming out and you put on his film, you're like, yeah, this dude's big and his arm is huge, but he's terrible.
Yeah.
He's a freak. He's a physical freak, but he cannot make decisions. And then he goes into the NFL, and that continues. And you're like, see, I told you. And then all of a sudden, year 2, 3 hit, whatever year it was, and all of a sudden, he's the best player in the NFL. And now it's that same thing we just talked about, fear of missing out. Same thing with Anthony Richardson. Now, every time you get a guy like this who he shows you on tape time and time again, he cannot play, you're like, well, Josh Allen couldn't play either. And that worked out. So maybe if we don't draft this guy, we're going to miss out on Josh Allen. So I totally get the buzz around him, but man, you're talking about a risk. He's a guy I'm interested to see where he goes, but I don't want my team to be the one taking the risk on him.
I'm not here to say he'll never be good, but I'd rather not the Panthers be the guinea pig.
For sure. And especially if we're talking about, here's another thing. If we stay at 9, we might not get a shot at any of these guys.
No, I don't think
So
we will.
there's definitely a scenario where Young, Stroud, Richardson are gone, and it's the fifth or sixth pick in the draft, and suddenly now the Panthers have to trade up to roll the dice on Will Levis. If you're gonna trade up, this is not the guy I want you
Yeah, no.
rolling the dice on. This is like a Russian roulette level risk. Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
So
And I feel bad because I feel like I've been just absolutely dunking on Will
no,
Levis, but
I'm the like I don't
yeah,
want to do that, but
I wanna give him a little bit of
the
flowers.
I hear
He
you.
probably has the strongest arm in the draft,
No, yeah, I'll
probably.
definitely say that. I would
And
definitely say that.
yeah,
Well,
I
maybe
like Richardson.
Richardson.
I like Richardson. Yeah,
Richardson
but
can fling that.
he can just sling it.
He can
But
fling that thing. But yeah,
and
Levis's arm is pretty unreal.
his placement, specifically in the middle of the field, is not bad at all. It's actually pretty well done. But speaking on that, he doesn't seem to ever throw the ball with anticipation, ever. Like I'll
Yeah.
watch. There was a play I saw where he was throwing for a touchdown, and two Kentucky receivers line up. Slot guy ends up setting a pick. The far guy does a slant. He waited until the slant was completely past the linebacker, completely past everyone else, until he was in the pocket, and then he decided to throw the ball, placing it
He
way
had to
outside
be
of the
sure.
pocket. Yeah, he
That
had to be sure.
reminds me
And
of an episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin buys 8,000 lottery tickets because he has to be sure. Or wait, he buys the fake lottery tickets because he had to be sure.
yeah,
That's Will Levis. He had to be sure.
he had to be sure. And
But I agree with.
yeah,
Speaking of anticipation, did you see much of that from Richardson? Because I felt like I didn't see much of that from either one of them.
I don't see it as much in Richardson. It does come every now and then. I see it every now and then, but it's not consistent.
But I
Some of
also
that,
think when you're comparing the two, Will Levis has twice as much experience
right. Well, I was
as
gonna say,
Richardson.
I think part of the reason why I'm, head over heels with Richardson and not with Levis is Richardson has been a starter for like less than an NFL season.
Right.
This guy is barely a college football season. This guy is so new to the position and he's so young and so talented. Levis does not have that sky high talent. He has a lot of experience, and the red flags got worse as he got
Right.
older.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like
Ah,
as
I
he
don't like
should have
him.
been progressing and that stuff should have gotten better, it never did. And it really got worse as the
Right.
season went on last year. I agree with you. But again, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Dude is a freak. He has great running ability too, not as great as you would see in Anthony Richardson, but probably after Anthony Richardson, this would be the next best running quarterback in my opinion. What do you
Yeah, I'd
think?
say so. Probably
Yeah.
him and then Hooker after him.
So I mean,